Why are some immigrants and their kids more financially successful than native-born Americans? I spent hours doing research on this topic and also reflecting on my own personal experience as a child of Ugandan immigrants to uncover 3 specific reasons why. So in this video, I'll be talking about the advantages that some immigrants have, the specific research studies that back up immigrant success, and also how illegal immigration factors into all of this. If you're new here, my name is Priscilla. I'm a former accountant and CPA, and on this channel, I talk about all things related to personal finance and money. In the description box below, I will leave timestamps so you can skip ahead if you want to, and find the links to the research studies that I'm going to mention so that you can look at the facts for yourself. The first reason is mindset. So like I mentioned, my family is from Uganda, but I grew up here in the United States, and just from firsthand experience, I can say that children in this country are conditioned to be employees and not employers. And even from kindergarten, pretty much your life is laid out for you. You're gonna go to school, you're gonna graduate high school, go to college, get a job, and then work until you're 65. On top of that, in schools, there tends to be a lot of focus on memorization of ideas and facts in order to pass exams, which is great and definitely needed, but it could also discourage the development of critical thinking and problem-solving skills, which are very much needed to be an entrepreneur. If you also grew up in the United States, I'd like to hear from you in the comments below and let me know if this has also been your experience, because I know as a kid, I didn't have any friends who wanted to be business owners or who talked about starting their own business. But when I talk to my cousins back in Uganda, that's all they ever talk about. They don't really talk about trying to find a job because it is so hard to find jobs there because of the economy. So instead of thinking about finding a job, they are thinking about ways to create income and create their own job for themselves. A lot of times in developing countries, jobs are given out not based on what you know, but on who you know. And I know that also happens sometimes here in the States too, but I do think it's to a greater degree in developing countries. So necessity really drives the need to be creative and be innovative with an urgency that is often not found here in America. A paper published in 2022 that was co-authored by an MIT economist reviewed data and tax records for all new businesses started in the United States between 2005 and 2010, which totaled to slightly over 1 million businesses. The study found that immigrants are more than 80% more likely to start their own business compared to native-born US citizens. And it's not just one particular type of business either. It's all over the board, businesses of all sizes, from mom and pop shops to Silicon Valley startups. The data shows that immigrants are engaging in entrepreneurship at a higher level, and when they do, they are finding lots of success. The second reason why some immigrants tend to be more successful has to do with location. And this is particularly relevant when considering the children of immigrants who, as it turns out, are more upwardly mobile than the children of US-born citizens. According to data analyzed by economics professors at Stanford, this fact has stayed both true and constant for over 100 years, irregardless of what country these children's parents are coming from. The children of parents coming from countries like Nigeria, Laos, Guatemala, El Salvador, etc., outperform the children of native US-born citizens coming from similar households. But why is that? Take a look at this map of the United States and think about which parts of the country do you think offer the best opportunities. If you're thinking major US cities, then you are correct. Not all parts of the United States offer equal opportunity to foster success. And this is probably true, I bet, no matter what country that you're looking at. But the data shows that location matters when it comes to having successful outcomes. A couple of the top US cities with the largest foreign-born populations are Vegas, Houston, LA, and Miami. Immigrants like to settle their children in dynamic cities that offer lots of opportunities for jobs and growth for the future generation. In comparison, I'm sure you can think of a US-born family who has never moved and has lived in the same town for decades, and they are fully established in that community. There are definitely pros and cons to this approach, but what the data has to say about families that operate in this manner is very interesting. A study found that the children of US-born families who move to a different location actually look very similar to the children of immigrants when it comes to success outcomes. What this indicates is that immigrants and US-born families who are willing to relocate to good places typically tend to see more success than US-born families who stay in the same place where they were born. Obviously, moving away from home is much easier said than done, and families who have really deep roots in one area will have to weigh the cost to leave. But immigrants who have already taken the step to move all the way to America are typically much more willing to move wherever they need to within the country to find the best opportunities for their kids. Also, being in a location with many immigrants from the same country can help strengthen and foster a sense of community and home away from home that can be really helpful. Which brings me to my third point, which is community. To explain this, I want you to think about the way that you use social media. If you're like most people, you're probably active on more than one platform. So you might have an Instagram, a Snapchat, a TikTok, and I bet that on these platforms you are following more than just one person. And the reason why we do this is because we recognize the value of having diverse perspectives and varied content. And in the same way, immigrants, when they form their own community, are able to draw on a variety of resources to help each other out. That's the reason why places like Chinatown, Little Ethiopia, and Ukrainian Village exist. These immigrant communities can be extremely helpful in finding work, in finding housing, and also taking important steps like buying your first home. The tighter the community, the more resources are shared and the more success everyone achieves. Especially in a country like America, which has a highly individualistic culture, these immigrant communities can be very important to figuring out how to successfully navigate life here. So now I do want to talk about illegal immigration. Anyone who has been paying attention to the news knows how big of an issue illegal immigration has been becoming in the past couple of years. And because this isn't a political channel, I won't get too much into my opinion on illegal immigration, besides just saying that I think it's a huge issue and it will continue to be a huge issue if our government doesn't adequately address it. But politics aside, I did not find a specific study that looked at the success outcomes for illegal immigrants. However, there was a study done by a Stanford professor who reviewed immigration trends from almost 130 countries over 5 years, and he found that the larger the number of immigrants from a particular country, the lower their wages tend to be in the United States. So I guess that's something to think about, but again, like I said, there hasn't really been research done on this topic yet. I do think that no matter where you come from, it is possible to have a successful outcome. Building wealth is a skill that anybody can learn. It's just a matter of having the right tools and knowing what to do. That's why you should click the video on the screen to hear about science-backed techniques to help you save more money.